Welcome to the future of media. This is HiK Media.
You know, we have this very romantic idea of water. It's the source of life, it's purification, all that blue marble stuff. We're told to drink 8 glasses a day.
Right.
But looking at the stack of research we're diving into today, I think we need to put a giant asterisk next to that whole water is life slogan.
It is a jarring shift in perspective.
Yeah.
Usually when we talk about a water crisis, we mean scarcity.
Yeah.
You know, the Mad Max scenario where the taps run dry.
Right, no water.
But the sources we have today present a scenario that is, well, arguably more terrifying.
Yeah.
Water that is abundant, revered,
Yeah.
and absolutely lethal.
Yeah, we aren't talking about thirst today. We're talking about betrayal. We're looking at 2 specific case studies from India where the water isn't just polluted, it's being weaponized against the very people who rely on it.
Exactly. We are looking at 2 extremes. On one hand, you have the price of national security nuclear power poisoning, a hidden community in Jadagora, and on the other, the price of faith, the Ganges, the most worshipped river in the world, effectively turned into a biological hazard.
So the mission for this deep dive is pretty specific. We want to figure out what happens when a powerful narrative, whether it's national progress or religious purity, just overwrites scientific reality.
Yes.
Because the details in these reports, I mean, they're not for the faint of heart. We're talking about children with extra fingers, radiation levels that are off the charts, and bacteria counts that, frankly, shouldn't even be possible.
It is heavy material. But it's also a study in cognitive dissonance. How much reality can a society ignore for the sake of a greater good?
Let's start with the first case, then, Jadugora. Now, I'll be honest, before I opened this file, I had never heard of Jadugora.
And most people haven't, which is actually by design. The sources refer to it as India's best-kept secret.
A secret?
It's a village in the state of Jharkhand. And to understand why this one place matters, you kind of have to zoom out to the big geopolitical picture. India is one of only 9 nations with nuclear weapons.
Which is a massive point of pride, right? It puts you at the big table in international relations.
Correct. But you can't have nuclear weapons without uranium.
Yeah.
And Jadagora, that is the engine room. This is where the uranium comes from.
The fuel for the status.
The fuel for the status. But the sources paint a picture of a region that has been, well, effectively sacrificed to get it.
Sacrificed is a strong word, but looking at the health data here, it feels accurate. The descriptions of the physical anomalies in the village are. Wow, they're straight out of a dystopian horror script. I don't say that lightly.
No, and the data supports that. We're not just talking about people feeling a bit unwell. The reports cite skeletal deformities as a common occurrence.
There was one specific detail that I had to reread 3 times just to make sure I wasn't misunderstanding it. The report mentions children being born with 6 or 7 fingers.
A polydactyly. It is a classic sign of genetic mutation. And sadly, it's not just fingers.
Oh, no.
The reproductive health data is devastating. There's a woman mentioned in the reports, Salma. She had 5 stillborn babies.
5. And the source mentions another woman who lost 6. I can't even imagine the psychological toll of that. 1 stillbirth is a tragedy. 5 or 6 is a statistical anomaly that just screams external factor.
And the locals know it. They're asking, what is our crime?
Yeah.
Most of the people living here are Adivasi indigenous tribes.
Right.
They feel they're being punished simply for living on top of the resource the country wants.
So let's unpack the how. Because uranium is natural, right? It's in the ground. Why is digging it up causing deformities now?
It comes down to, it's all about concentration and containment. The mining in Jadugora is deep. We're talking 600 meters underground.
Oh.
Picture 10 Qutub Minars stacked on top of each other going down into the earth. They bring up the ore, but here's the kicker. The valuable stuff, the processed uranium, gets shipped off to Hyderabad.
Okay, so the product leaves the state.
But the waste stays. The leftover sludge, known as tailings, is dumped into these massive ponds.
Okay.
Now, in a high-safety environment, a tailing pond is lined with concrete. It's a sealed system.
Like a swimming pool, basically. You don't want it leaking.
Exactly. But in Jadagora, the sources are explicit. There is no lining. It is just dumped on the bare earth.
So you have radioactive sludge sitting on porous ground.
Which means it seeps directly into the groundwater. And we have to remember, this is a rural community. They don't have filtered city plumbing.
No.
They wash their utensils in this water. They bathe in it. The cattle drink it and the people drink it.
This is where I want to pause and clarify something, because the source gets into the specific science of alpha particles. When I hear radiation, I think of X-rays or Chernobyl. But alpha particles are different, right?
They are very specific, and this is a crucial distinction for you to understand. Alpha particles are actually quite weak externally. If I held a chunk of uranium emitting them in my hand, my skin would arcly block them.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they can't penetrate the outer layer of the body.
So holding it isn't the main problem. It's not like Superman and kryptonite where just being near it weakens you.
Exactly. The problem is ingestion. If you drink water laced with alpha particles or you inhale dust containing them, they are now inside you. And
Oh.
because they're inside, there's no skin to block them. They settle in the soft tissues, the bones, the lungs. They radiate your cells from point-blank range continuously for a lifetime.
That is the silent killer part. It's a biological time bomb you swallow.
It shreds DNA.
Yeah.
That's why you see the stillbirths and the genetic mutations in the next generation. It is cellular destruction from the inside out.
What gets me is the lack of, basic containment. You'd think if you're mining uranium, the stuff of nuclear bombs, you'd have hazmat suits, sealed convoys, the works. But the source describes open trucks.
It sounds ludicrous, doesn't it? But yes, the ore is reportedly transported in open-bed trucks driving right through the villages.
Just bouncing along the road.
Bouncing along, dropping rocks, kicking up dust. That dust settles on the road. It blows into houses. It lands on the drying laundry, on the food.
So even if you manage to avoid drinking the water, you're breathing the dust. You can't escape it.
You really can't. There's a quote from a local villager in the source material that really encapsulates the psychological toll of this. He said they feel like guinea pigs.
Guinea pigs? That's wow.
He said, and I'm paraphrasing here, they want to see if we turn into zombies after 100 years.
That is a profound sense of abandonment, to feel that your own government is essentially running a survival experiment on you.
And the authorities running the mines seem to hold all the cards. Take the dosimeters, for instance. You know what those are.
Those are the little badges that measure radiation exposure. I've seen them in movies.
Right. The laborers wear them. It's standard safety protocol. But here's the catch. The source alleges that the workers are never shown the data.
What?
The authorities collect the badges, they record the numbers, and they keep it secret.
So a worker could be receiving a lethal dose day after day, and he would have no idea until he gets sick.
It's total information control. And when they do get sick, which is inevitable, the official narrative just gaslights them. The government and the Uranium Corporation of India reportedly deny any link between the mining and the health crisis.
So how do they explain a village full of skeletal deformities and cancer then?
They blame the victims. They say it's malnutrition. They say it's unhygienic conditions.
Malnutrition doesn't give you 7 fingers. That's just not how biology works.
No, it isn't. But that narrative shifts the responsibility. It says, you're not sick because of our uranium mine. You're sick because you're poor and don't wash your hands.
Speaking of being poor, the obvious question, and I'm sure you're thinking it, listeners, is why stay? If you know the water is poison, why not pack up and leave?
That is the economic trap. The source puts it bluntly, if we leave the field, the battle is over. For the Adivasi, land is identity, but more practically, they have no money. Who buys a house in a radioactive village?
Nobody.
They can't sell, so they can't buy anywhere else. They're forced to choose between poverty and poison.
It's a choice that isn't really a choice. It's captivity.
Precisely.
I want to pivot now. We've been talking about a hidden crisis underground, in a remote village, something the government wants to keep quiet. But our second case study is the complete opposite. It's out in the open, it's world famous, and millions of people flock to it voluntarily.
The Ganges, or the Ganga.
Right. And to help us look at this, the source material brings in Jeremy Wade, you know him, right? The river monsters guy.
Oh, absolutely. And I love that the source used him because he brings a biologist's eye to it, not just a tourist's. He offers a kind of longitudinal study. He first fished the Ganges back in 1982.
Back then, he was chasing the golden mahseer.
The tiger of the river. It's this massive, sensitive fish. If the golden mahseer is there, the ecosystem is generally healthy. It's an indicator species.
So in 1982, he catches the fish. The river's okay. He comes back in 2018 to check the river's health. What does he find?
Well, it's a tale of two rivers. Upstream, near the Himalayas in Uttarakhand, the river is still rushing and clear. He finds the mahseer there.
Okay, good.
But as soon as he moves downstream, to the industrial and religious hubs like Kanpur and Varanasi, the river is dead.
No fish.
No fish, just bacteria.
Let's talk about that bacteria. The report specifies fecal coliform, which, let's be clear for everyone listening, is the polite scientific term for bacteria found in human excrement.
It is poop, let's be blunt.
Okay. I want to look at the numbers here because high bacteria is vague. The source gives us benchmarks.
Right, let's anchor this. For water to be safe to drink, the fecal coliform count should be 0.
0. Makes sense. You don't want any poop in your drinking water.
For bathing, just swimming, not swallowing, the safe limit is generally considered to be under 500 units per 100 milliliters.
Okay, so 500 is the don't open your mouth limit. What did they find in the parts of the Ganges where people are ritually bathing?
82,000 units.
Wait, 82,000.
Per 100 milliliters. That is more than 160 times the safe limit for bathing. It is essentially raw sewage.
And yet, the images we see, the stories we hear, people aren't just bathing. They are drinking it. They are gargling it. They're taking it home in bottles.
That is the paradox of the Ganges.
Yeah.
The source highlights this massive conflict between faith and fact.
Yeah.
In almost any other context, if you saw water that looked and smelled like that, you'd stay away. But here, the cultural narrative is that the Ganges is Mana Mother. It is a goddess.
And a goddess can't be dirty.
Exactly. The belief is that the river is spiritually pure, so it must be physically pure. The faith actually creates a blind spot. It overrides the biological reality.
It's incredible. In Jadagora, the government hides the danger to protect the nuclear program. In Varanasi, the people see the danger, but their belief system just filters it out.
And it's not just a personal belief, it's a commercial industry. The source points out that you can buy Gangajal bottled holy water from the river online or in shops.
How much does a bottle of potentially toxic water cost?
About 70 rupees for a gallon. Roughly $1.
$1 for a gallon of potentially 82,000 units of fecal coliform.
It is the commodification of faith, completely detached from hygiene. You're buying a bottle of cultural purity that happens to be biologically toxic.
So when we look at these two stories side by side,
Yeah.
they seem different. Nuclear waste versus sewage, secret versus famous, but they're essentially the same mechanism, aren't they?
They are. They're both stories about what happens when we disconnect from the physical environment. In both cases, water, the most basic necessity for life, has been turned into a delivery system for death.
In Jadagora, the delivery system carries alpha particles. In the Ganges, it carries bacteria.
And in both cases, there's a sacrificial lamb. The source on Jadagora was very explicit about this concept of national development.
Right.
India gets to be a nuclear power. That's a huge status symbol.
But who pays the bill?
The Adivasi, the locals. Right. The benefits are nationalized security, power, electricity. The costs are localized cancer, deformities, stillbirths. It's an extractive relationship. The center extracts the value and dumps the waste on the periphery.
And with the Ganges.
It's similar. The cost of maintaining the religious narrative is public health. To acknowledge the river is toxic would be to challenge the faith, so the pollution continues and people get sick.
It's so easy to get lost in the stats, the 82,000 units, the 600 meters deep. But the source kept coming back to the human element. There was one story in particular, Karthik.
Yeah, Karthik.
Yeah.
That one hits hard. He's the 15-year-old boy mentioned in the Jadagora report.
Walk us through his reality.
He's been bedridden since birth. He can't speak. He can't walk. The description is heartbreaking. He tries to shake hands. He wants to communicate, but his body just won't let him. His mother has to do everything for him. Feeding, cleaning.
And the family?
Bankrupt. They spent everything they had on doctors, hoping for a cure, until they were finally told there is nothing we can do.
That is the real cost of that nuclear warhead. It's not just a budget line item. It's a 15-year-old kid who will never leave his bed.
It forces you to look at the word progress differently. We usually think of progress as a straight line going up. But for Karthik, and for the thousands of people drinking that water, progress is a weight crushing them.
And it circles right back to that guinea pig comment. If a nation's development requires the sacrifice of specific communities, is it actually development?
Or is it just exploitation with better PR?
That's the question. So to recap what we've unpacked today, we have Jadagora, where the quest for strategic power has left a community bathing in radioactive runoff hidden from the public eye.
And the Ganges, where ancient tradition is collided with modern industrial and human waste, creating a river that is spiritually revered, but biologically hazardous.
Both instances show us that ignorance, whether it's the willful ignorance of the state hiding data or the cultural ignorance of refusing to see pollution, is fatal.
Ignorance is a luxury that biology doesn't afford us. You can believe the water is safe, you can be told the water is safe, but your cells know the truth.
So here's the thought I want to leave you with. We all benefit from development. We use the electricity, we enjoy the national security, we participate in the culture. But somewhere, someone is paying the price for that.
The question is, At what point does that cost become too high? When does the sacrifice of the few outweigh the progress of the many?
Something to think about the next time you turn on the tap. Thanks for diving in with us.
Stay curious and stay critical.